Hello and welcome everyone for the second time to Back Lot Banter, the monthly show where I, your host, Dan Dykstra, am joined by my fellow cinema-loving friends, Timo Nelson and Tucker Hazel, to talk about what we've been watching for the last month. I'm sure we are busting at the seams with plenty of movies aplenty to talk about. Directors that may some of us have delved into, perhaps.
Okay.
Maybe I'll even shake up the format a little bit and throw something that's not really a movie in there. But that's all par for the course here at Backlot Banter.
Oh yeah.
So before we get into
because
it,
there is no course.
No, there is no course. We are way off in the rough in Backlot Banter. But I want you to subscribe to Backlot Banter. I want you to like this video. I want you to join the Discord server. That link is in the description. That way you can talk about what movies you've been watching this month or any month. And you can give us topic ideas directly
with us through interpersonal communication.
You can give us topic ideas for what we'll do in the latter half of our monthly episodes. We will this month we are talking about our favorite movies of last year, 2021. We all have a handful that we haven't talked about on other movie reviews, or we will not talk about on our show Quest for the Bestest. That show's coming out bi-weekly, I believe, twice a week.
No.
As we prepare for the Oscars.
Twice a week,
Wait,
man.
I thought bi-weekly was every other week.
It means both. It's one of those weird little it's all those weird little choices that English decides to make. But
Backlot Banter is educational.
But
we should have a word of the month every month.
But nonetheless, we are about to get into our what we watched this month. And I want to throw it to Timo Nelson.
You want me to go first? All right. Well, this month, unfortunately, a little bit less like super awesome as previous months. I feel like I did not get a chance to escape the mold of like class movies and quest movies. So I got a lot of quest stuff, which, you get to hear about other times. And then I've got a bunch of interesting films that I watched for class. The one film I did manage to get to was Worst Person in the World, which I really enjoyed. It was a fun watching experience. Good time. I didn't pay too much attention to it, so I think I've got a very rewarding second watch incoming when I get around to it. I'm looking forward to that. But, I'm like knee deep, maybe even waist or shoulder level deep into Soviet cinema right now. And that is just, it's crazy and mind-boggling. And the films are so weird. And at the same time, like I watched one that if it would have been in English, it would have felt like a 1930s Hollywood movie. And so, like, very weird, very interesting. Just getting outside the mold. And so that's kind of the rundown. You want me to drop some specific titles in there?
Sure. Just drop them in. Little recommendations for the audience if they want to delve into film history a tidge.
Yeah, man.
Soviet film history, right?
Soviet film history.
I at the very beginning of the month, the first film was Battleship Potemkin.
Sergei
Eisenstein. Man, pretty incredible. If you know what's happening beforehand, I will qualify that. If you don't know anything about the movie, it might just like totally befuddle you. But it's a good movie, I thought. And then, surprisingly, Bed and Sofa was another Soviet-era film that had a lot more going for it than I thought it would have when I first saw it.
Bed and Sofa, you said?
Bed and Sofa from 1927.
From 1927. A little different from a bed and breakfast. Am I right, lads?
Well, maybe.
Tucker, what have you been watching?
All right, I'm going to start off with something a little light, a little airy, because we're going to talk about Bubble Boy here on Backlot Banter. Now, this is an interesting one that came out of nowhere quite intentionally, because just to set the groundwork, Timo, I've been the exact opposite of you. This past month, I got so since we recorded last episode, I got Pokemon Legends Arceus, which was the game that I reviewed and played and basically did nothing else video game wise for the past month.
Tucker, that's 10 Hail Marys for bringing up a video game on Backlot Banter.
Shit. My bad.
Dude, man.
I'll do my penance effort. But what
Don't
that did
cross
mean,
the streams,
since I wasn't focusing on video games, that I focused a lot more on films this past month. Since the last time we recorded this, watched 50 movies, 50 feature films.
How many days since we recorded last? Did you watch more than one or less than one?
It's been roughly a month. We record these every month to the second.
Yeah.
But so one night I should be working on homework. Let me preface this. This night I should be working on homework.
This is how it usually goes.
So we finished up recording something. I'm going downstairs. I'm making my dinner. I'm like, I just want to watch a movie. I don't care what it is. Right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So I organized my Letterboxd watch list by 2000s comedy shortest first, and what comes up is Bubble Boy, the Jake Gyllenhaal 2001 classic film in which Jake Gyllenhaal plays a kid who has no immune system, so he has to live inside a plastic bubble. And this turns into a road trip movie, a cross-country adventure film in which he meets a huge cast of wacky characters and just goes through a bunch of just off-the-wall scenarios. And halfway through watching it, or like 20 minutes into watching it, Tanner comes down. He's like, "Are you watching fucking Bubble Boy?" And I'm like, "Yeah. What do you want from me?" And then he got kind of hooked by it. He's like, "Oh, this seems kind of fun." So we sat down. We watched the entirety of Bubble Boy together. It was fucking great. It was fucking great.
Yeah, just huddled around our dinner table, me making and eating dinner during the runtime of this film.
Yes,
and having a grand old fun time with it. This movie. Yeah, I said in my review on Letterboxd, follow me Tanner_Dykstra on Letterboxd.
Yep. We should start plugging our Letterboxd.
Whoa, that is smart.
I don't know.
That's a smart thing to do on this show, huh?
Okay, yeah, okay.
But yeah, as I wrote in my Letterboxd review, 2000s comedies are an underappreciated art form, and I will stand by that. This movie has had some of the funniest laugh out loud moments that I've ever had recently in any comedy that I've seen, for sure. And Tucker's right. Just the cast of wacky characters that we get in this. We get. I think my favorite are the twin, like maybe 98-year-old men. Who hate each other. They're brothers and they hate each other. One has a car, one has a plane.
Yeah, that's their bit.
They both die, but then they don't. They come back at the end with their twin loves, Poontang and Poonanny.
Yeah, this movie just goes six ways from Sunday on things that might be offensive to some people, but they're like under this veil of just absurdity that makes the entire thing fun. The other characters include a cult who believes that Jake Gyllenhaal's character is like a reincarnation of their alien Jesus. So they're chasing him across the country.
We got some circus freaks.
Yeah, there's a whole gang of circus freaks.
Those are very needed.
And the leader of the circus freaks is Vern Troyer, who ends up teaming up with his horribly religious parents who are chasing him across the country. and there's what's the guy's name? What's the Danny Trejo, who leads a biker gang who love Jake Gyllenhaal's character. It's just,
I love Bubble Boy.
It's just fucking great. It's fucking great.
It is. And that even has it got me a little bit in the heart, a little bit in a touching scene between Bubble Boy and Bubble Father.
Bubble Father.
Oh, and also it has a very on the nose 2000 soundtrack where like whatever's happening in the scene, they just start playing a song that like describes what's going on. But they're like famous songs. And it's got this very special vibe to it. I think the movie's criminally overlooked.
Yes. Now, I alluded to the fact that I might be shaking up the format of Lot Banter slightly.
Yeah, you did, and you're scaring me about it. So,
and I'm scaring you a little bit, but I shouldn't be scaring you because this is a show that ended recently that was well loved. Well, it didn't end. The first season ended. I'm of course talking about Peacemaker on HBO Max. Tucker and I watched it week to week. We were going to do. Thank you, Tucker. Tucker's doing a little bit of the Peacemaker dance. We were going to do a review of it. We unfortunately didn't get around to it, but I'm like, hold on a second. Halt. Let me think about this.
If only there was an outlet to talk about media this month.
And lo and behold, Lot Banter, we're here to talk about Peacemaker.
Lot Banter answered the call.
Yes. I thought Peacemaker was great.
Prayers.
You know, when this series was first announced in the wake of 2021's The Suicide Squad, I was like, all right. I mean, it seems like kind of a cool idea. It's about a character who wasn't really like the focus point of the film. He, spoilers for the Suicide Squad, ended up being the villain of the film, and there's a little bit of a post-credits tease towards the series. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll watch the first episode. I'll see what it's like. And this series hooks you immediately with one of the James Gunn said he set out to create an unskippable title sequence, and we all thought he was crazy for saying such a thing. It is not possible. But James Gunn did it.
Oh, he fucking did it.
Simply by having the entire cast of the series, the entire main cast, come out before every episode starts and do a choreographed dance sequence to Wigwam's Do You Wanna Taste It?
Yeah.
And it is glorious. We never skipped it once. There was times where we rewound it and watched it again.
Yep.
I've watched
That's
it on YouTube a number of times.
Skipping.
Yeah.
Yeah. But this isn't a review of the opening dance sequence. This is a review of the series.
How does it extend into the rest of the show?
Well, the intro doesn't.
No, I
related.
mean in a loose tangential sense.
Sure. I think that this is exactly what I want James Gunn to be doing. This is exactly what I want DC to be doing as well. They can do serious stuff, yada yada yada. But what DC sort of fails, and this might become a DCEU rant a little bit, but Marvel's had over 10 years on them now. They've had what is it, 12 years now?
Yeah, since 2008.
Yeah, since 2000.
Don't look at
14
me
years.
These
Okay.
answers.
It's been 14 years. And the DCEU has sort of been a puttering tractor trying to get started, and they're sort of lurching forward every so often. But I think what they need to come to realize is, and James Gunn nails this on the head in the Peacemaker series, is just act as if the universe is already established.
Yeah.
Make jokes about the wackiest part of the comics, Batmite, Matter-Eating Lad, Kite Man, all these wild
Matter-Eating Lad.
Jokes. Matter-Eating Lad.
That's what they called me in high school.
Yeah, they did, Tucker. I would know.
And the other great thing about this, and I think this is another area where James Gunn succeeds, is taking characters that no one cares about in the larger sense, like in the macro sense of like we care about Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Take Peacemaker, a character who DC acquired in like the 80s or whatever and did nothing with until the Suicide Squad, and get John Cena on board, who has proven himself to be a very strong comedic force and a very strong dramatic force, especially in this series. He balances both of those sides very, very well, as this character who sort of comes to realize that, oh, I've been the bad guy this whole time, and it's mostly because I was raised by a white supremacist portrayed by Robert Patrick, who's his father.
A white supremacist supervillain.
Yeah, white supremacist supervillain, the White Devil, who is
White
Dragon.
Don't
fucking forget it.
The White Dragon, who is also like a technological super genius who built like an Iron Man suit and all sorts of super powered helmets for Peacemaker.
Okay.
And Peacemaker as a character comes to realize that, he needs to tackle these demons that are inside of him about like, why do I keep pushing people away? Why am I a dick to literally every single person that I meet? And yeah, it's a great show. It does great characterization for not only Peacemaker, but the other tertiary characters who got maybe a handful of minutes of screen time in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Amelia
Harcourt, John
Economos. We get a new addition of Adebayo, who ends up being Amanda Waller's daughter, which is a really cool reveal. And they all get established, and there's a really great camaraderie among this cast. You really feel like they all did become friends. Special shout out to Freddie Stroma as a vigilante.
Oh my god,
who is consistently one of the funniest parts of the series, as just this unhinged psychopath that also has no real understanding of like normal social interactions and just says the first thing that comes to his head at any given moment, no matter how serious or not serious the situation is. But to sort of cap off the Peacemaker rant here, the rambling Peacemaker rant, it's a great show. I would highly recommend it if you can handle some rated R James Gunn superhero antics. Yeah. And I can't wait for season 2, and I can't wait for whatever other DCEU show James Gunn is working on with another character from the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, it's quite fantastic. I was more excited for this show than most people were because I just like the idea of spinning off the Suicide Squad into its own mini universe. But what they've really done is create the DC universe through the lens of James Gunn. DC and Warner Brothers gave him legitimately free reign to create an extended universe through references and jokes that makes the actual DCU that this takes place in more established than ever. I mean, they used the joke that Aquaman fucks fish like 4 times in this show. And there's a legitimate payoff for it at the end when Jason Momoa, the DCEU's Aquaman, shows up at the end and is like, it's fine. It's fine. If people care about Peacemaker, they've already fucking seen it. It shows up at the end. It's like, I don't fuck fish. And the Flash, but Ezra Miller's like, no, I've heard that. I've heard that you do. Like they pay these things off in a really satisfying way.
So would you say that like what direction as a whole, as like a tonal direction, has Peacemaker taken the DCEU? Where are they moving now based off of James
Gunn's...
A more
flexible direction and more established direction. The idea that this universe now just exists to play with rather than having to be stringently established in specific films is very freeing.
Yeah, we have to. I really hope this shows DC that they don't have to copy one for one the MCU, where they do solo movie, solo movie, team up, solo movie, new character, yada yada, so forth and so forth.
Yeah,
that it is that DC becomes more of a sandbox, and the MCU is this sort of progressing. Yeah, exactly. That they can be different things and still be loved by audiences.
Yeah,
and I think that's clear because I think Peacemaker was the Peacemaker finale was the biggest like first day streaming thing for HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
But the thing that's really just crazy about all this is genuinely, I think that Peacemaker is the best piece of content that the DCEU has ever had, and it has created easily the most compelling characters of the DCEU. When you're watching this final episode, and this C-tier character from one of the like weirder films of the universe becomes one of the most developed characters in the entire 10-year series, it just blows your fucking mind. And it's not ending. Like he's actually established such an interesting world that they're like, yes, please continue working on this. People actually like this.
Yeah, DC is like a thing that people actually like most people like. What? We've never had one of these on our hands before.
Yeah. Do you think it could be the key to their success going forward?
Absolutely, 100%.
I think Peacemaker is going to be the new Superman.
No, but I think what Timo is asking is this the direction that they go? And I think with the success of this and the fact that there is another show in the works, another season of this in the works, even farther down the line, other spinoffs creating more of this universe, I think we're going to have to see what the Flash does in terms of the actual canon of the universe, but there's no way in fuck they wipe this segment of the universe.
Absolutely
James Gunn's corner with these characters of Polka Dot Man and King Shark and fucking Ratcatcher and all that, they're weird, they're crazy, but they're the thing that has worked the best.
Yeah,
the entire goddamn universe.
They're almost universally beloved, which can't be said of Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Okay, I maybe have a dumb question that's sort of related to this, but I've always wanted to know because I've always heard about it, and it relates to DC. I hear things about them like retconning and getting rid of parts of the universe. How do they actually like do that? Are they in the movies? It's like this never really happened. Wait,
it hasn't happened yet. But it's likely going to happen with the Flash that comes out in November.
Okay. So
the rumors are that they're basically just going to erase every not liked movie in the universe.
And we'll see how that works. I think
how do they do that?
What Timo's referencing is that there are two versions of Justice League, as you know. Zack Snyder's cut came out. Everything that happens in that movie is not canon to the continuing story, because we have movies that take place after that. And also then there's Wonder Woman 1984, which takes place in the past, so that's easy to like wipe out, say, oh, that never actually happened. Like it's actually not going to be that hard for them to make it a consistent universe, but I think basing it around this and hopefully the Batman and Black Adam and these movies that have a more focused creative vision, I think it could work. I think it might come at the expense of having a good Flash movie, but we'll see.
We'll see. It's already come at the expense of having a good Flash, so sorry, Ezra Miller.
Timo, you got anything else to talk about?
Yeah, of course of course I've got something to talk about, because as the really attentive Quest viewer knows, there are but a few episodes in which there are not all four of the Backlog Boys present. Yeah. And one of those being where I missed out on reviewing The Best Years of Our Lives. All the way, I don't even remember when the episode was. It was sometime last spring. But the film from 1946, I finally got around to watching it this month. And I don't think I have, I don't know. Do you want, I think maybe I'd give it a Quest style review. I really liked it. I thought it was a really good movie. And I'm watching it in this class of social problem films. So I'm analyzing like what are the different classes of the three guys, and like how are they relating to each other, and what are the different problems that the film comes up with, and how does it try to solve them, and like, you know, all the media studies extraordinaire, basically, going through this movie. And I watched it for class, but I was also like, yeah, this is a Quest movie that I missed out on, and I like definitely need to see. So you know, I think it's super well done. I think it's super, like, the script is really, really tight. We've been watching some other movies around this time, and just none of them really compared to what.
Can you offhandedly mention a few?
Yeah. Well, because I've got them pulled up right here. We watched this film Crossfire from 47 also.
I think I've heard of that.
Like a noir film, very much so. I didn't think it was that good. And then we also saw this film Caged, directed by it's got a really awesome B movie director, John Cromwell. Made a bunch of B movies.
Good old John Cromwell.
And so surrounded in the sphere of like those films, The Best Years of Our Lives is like by far the best out of all of them. And I think like the thought-provoking stuff in it rings true, at least to some extent. You know, it's nullified by the code, which is we were talking about, but I think I don't know. I take what I'm given, and the film is the stuff that is forcefully omitted from it that because of the code is like a moot point, basically.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
I am prepared. To give it a score and
Yes, I was
see
gonna ask
how
about that.
will change. Kind of unofficially, because this is not a Quest episode. Maybe
no one cares. I'll add it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is officially a crossover episode with the Quest for the Bestest.
Yeah.
Whatever episode like 52 or whatever it was.
I've got it pulled up, and I'm gonna punch it in. Are you ready?
Oh, you actually have the thing open.
Look at the glow. He's looking at it right now.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah. Okay. Well, I put it in. And
I don't see it.
You guys don't have it pulled up. That's all right. Well, I think this film is a 9.0. I think this is a really good movie.
Wow.
And I think that just everything that it does is excellent, and it succeeds in pretty much all areas for what it is, which is a 40s classical Hollywood social problem film.
In terms of social problems, and you discussing those for this class, I probably remember the stuff about like the GI Bill and stuff like that, and veterans returning home and coming to grips with the transformed after the war economy. United States is some of the most interesting stuff in that movie.
Yeah, and I mean, just in that whole being in that whole sphere was like, oh man, okay, I'm really feeling like I'm getting a lot out of this. So that does actually change the score a little bit. It bumps it up by 0.2, up to 8.5. And it brings it into tying with two films, because it's a really, really tight corridor here in like the 9.0 to like 8.0. Or like 7.8.
Yeah, but hey, we'll talk about that the next episode of Quest.
We'll tackle that at a different time. For now, I want to hear what Tucker's been watching. Also,
stay tuned for the final result.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about something that I have been unduly fascinated by in the past week, especially, which is a spinning off of something that we talked about in our film theory class, which is this idea of mid-2000s chaos cinema, which doesn't utilize filmic space very well and focus on fast editing and shaky cam and all these cinematic elements that disorient the viewer, rather than like giving them a space for action to take place in. And I was looking at this, and they're talking about Tony Scott and Michael Bay. And I'm like, you know what? I know what they're talking about. Like, I've seen how grungy and fast and weird these movies are, but I've never actually seen any of them. I'd never seen a Michael Bay movie. Well, to a certain extent. So I decided to just dive headfirst into Michael Bay's filmography, and I have since watched almost every one of his films that's not in the Transformers series. He directed 5 Transformers movies. I haven't seen any of them. Or I saw the first one fucking forever ago, but I don't remember. But I watched Bad Boys. I didn't watch The Rock. I skipped that because we're doing Cage Binge next month. Yeah. I watched Bad Boys, Bad Boys 2, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, Pain and Gain, and The Island. And I think they're all good movies. Whoa. So I am at different degrees of good, from like a 7, like definitely good range, to 9 being great. I think actually some great films. And I'm just surprised to be a genuine Michael Bay fan. I think people don't give him nearly enough credit for how inventive he is, and frankly, how good some of the characters in his films are. My favorite of which being Pearl Harbor, which is one of his least popular movies. Like, it's not widely hated, but it's widely midded. Like, people just think this movie's fucking nothing.
Yeah, I think it's widely regarded as like Michael Bay wanted to do Titanic.
Yeah,
like
and he did. And you know what? It worked. The love triangle in this film with Ben Affleck and I can't remember the other actors' names, is genuinely compelling. The writing for all these characters I found to be great. And so when you're given, like, let me check my fucking watch, 2 hours of screen time to like adapt to them in their life, and then Pearl Harbor attack happens, comes out of essentially nowhere, that you see like from the other angle, the Japanese people like or Japanese military setting up to attack them, and then it comes out of nowhere, and you get a 45-minute long Michael Bay action sequence of people like falling off of these boats that are being bombed, and like them. There's these amazing shots of like the camera underwater looking up of all these guys swimming as like planes are flying above them and stuff. Like, wow, this is huge in scale and genuinely impactful because of the way that Michael Bay directs action. So like, I just found that balance to be fascinating.
What
and it
year?
Extends. This is 2003.
Okay.
I thought it was like 2001.
2001. My
Titanic
bad.
comparison.
Yeah, 2001.
Wow, okay.
But yeah, I mean, some of his films are just kind of like schlocky and cheesy, like Bad Boys and Armageddon, but they're still well made and I think well acted on the whole. But the few, not diamonds in the rough, just diamonds within lesser diamonds, I think he's a great filmmaker, and that will probably be changed on the whole once I watch the Transformers films, which he's categorically less interested in personally. Like, a lot of these films feel like a personal vision, and they're very unlike things I've seen elsewise. But then there's the Transformers thing, which I'm sure will be just like a giant fucking bruise on his filmography. But I don't think that discounts the fact that otherwise I think he's a great director, and I'm actually excited for Ambulance. I know it's hard to say.
I'm also excited for Ambulance.
Very interested in that film.
Yeah.
What's the premise of that film?
Ambulance is about Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II are they're buddies, and Jake Gyllenhaal is like, hey, we should go rob a bank. And Yahya Abdul-Mateen is like, I got a family to support. Sure, fine. I'm not crazy about the idea, but it's the best opportunity I got. And Jake Gyllenhaal seems pretty interested. It seems pretty confident. Shit goes all askew. They have to commandeer an ambulance with Isaac Gonzalez, and basically careening through the streets and jumping off of cop cars, and explosions are happening and helicopters are crashing and whatnot as they're racing through the streets of. I've hit my headphones. I was talking so vehemently.
You're gesticulating.
They're racing through the streets of Los Angeles. I think there's a dying guy that's in the ambulance with them that Isaac Gonzalez is trying to take care of, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II are fighting because Jake Gyllenhaal proves himself to be pretty unhinged, actually. And yeah, it looks sweet.
The trailers are rather nondescript, but the concept seems cool. And I think in execution, if Michael Bay is still as good a filmmaker as he was 20 years ago when these movies that I like came out. Though Pain and Gain 2013, I thought that's also a 9 out of 10 for me. That movie's fucking hilarious, but also kind of like a weird reframing of how American viewers view action cinema and like side with that bad guys. Michael Bay, you're one of my top filmmakers now, and I feel really funny saying that, but I'm actually very proud to have my baby.
Wear it like a badge of honor.
He's graduated beyond. He became just the explosion guy. I think for a lot of people because of the Transformers series. Yeah. But
there's a lot of explosions in all his movies, so that's not actually unfair. But I think it's unfair
just the explosions guy. Yeah, just the explosions guy. But yeah, neat. I'll probably get around to get into some Bayhem myself at some point.
Tanner, you are gonna love Pain and Gain.
I feel it. I feel it in my bones. It has a bunch of jacked dudes in it.
And I think you'd actually really enjoy Armageddon.
Tanner's like, yeah.
If you rewatch it. You have Armageddon like a 2 right now, but I think it would jump up significantly if you saw it again.
Sure. Okay. I suppose it's back around to me.
Yeah, I think it is, Tanner. Yeah, we're gonna have to listen to you now.
Okay. I'm gonna keep the train of positivity going here, because I'm gonna talk about a movie that we watched a while ago. It was an early in the month new release. It is Jackass Forever.
Oh, I'm very glad you talked about this.
Yeah. Jackass Forever. I knew this was going to be a fun theater experience going in because it's a Jackass movie and knowing what I know about those films. But nothing could have prepared me for how much fun I was going to have in this, because they just go balls to the wall, sometimes literally in this film.
Oftentimes literally. I think most of the time literally.
Oftentimes literally, there may or may not be a close-up shot of some man's balls hanging through a cutout hole in a miniature room, and a tiny little boxing gloves powered by a power tool of some sort come up and punch them as if they are speed bags.
What?
There is an absolutely undue amount of dick in this movie. I have never in my life seen more full frontal nudity in a film, but they use it to just like absurd effect. The amount of squashing and bashing of just dicks in this film.
They cover Steve-O's dick and balls with bees.
Yeah.
Danger. There's a running bit of Danger Aaron. Having doing the cup test in various different formats. From being having a softball thrown at it, to having a heavyweight boxing champion punch him in the balls, to having a hockey puck hit at them from a professional hockey player.
You're painting me with your descriptions, Tanner.
To finally a pogo stick jumping on it. Yeah. It is insane. It is insane. Oh, and that's not it. That's not all it is, because I think there's genuinely, Johnny Knoxville is obviously fantastic in this as well. They do the Flight of Icarus and everything like that, which is great bits. This film is just wall to wall great physical comedy bits, and you get in cool people like who is the man who is colloquially known as Jackass, which is a younger guy who's got his start on YouTube doing imitating Jackass stunts, and he's actually in it. You get some people like Tyler, the Creator, and Eric Andre making appearances in this.
I heard about those guys being in it.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting about Jackass is that someone pointed this out in another review I was listening to, and I think it really rings true for me, and it's I think it's the reason why a lot of people are attracted to Jackass movies, which is they just are consistently doing the most interesting and stunning, practically done set pieces in film. Like, they do. It didn't really occur to me, because these aren't like your standard action films, but they are actually firing people out of cannons and setting bears loose in rooms and stuff
real
like that.
Stunts.
Yeah. And it's consistently the most entertaining stuff we're seeing in Hollywood right now. And it's just...
I'm not going to spoil it, but the final bit goes from like a 7, like it's pretty cool, and it's like, oh, this is funny, to they just keep adding layers on top of
like
it.
An 11 or a 12 out of 10.
Oh my fucking god!
Yeah, they are consistently doing practical and stunning cinematic level stuff, and I think Jackass Forever is the real culmination of that. This is 10 years or so after the Jackass 3D, which was supposed to be the 10 years after original Jackass. And I think that there's also just like genuine, like really close friendship among all these guys that comes through on screen and stuff. So if you don't mind seeing some mild CBT in this film,
not mild.
Oh yeah, some pretty major CBT in this film
versus Casino Royale. Where's it at?
Yeah. Oh, well, they have more fun with it in this one. Okay, so there's that.
It's good CBT.
Yeah, it's fun loving CBT with the boys. I love Jackass Forever, and I'll honestly, I'm looking to own it on Blu-ray when it comes out, perhaps with a Jackass collection. But we'll see if the fates of fortune shine upon me.
The powers
just quickly,
that be.
I actually watched all the Jackass movies in this past month. A part of my many binges that I've gone on. But I started off watching one of these at work, which, by the way, you should not watch Jackass at work. They do a lot of there's a lot of poop in these movies. There's a lot of balls in these movies. Like, they just go off the wall. And I was like, the first one, I was like, yeah, I get this. I think it's funny, but like, that's kind of comedy doesn't really work for me. But then I pushed myself through 2 and 3, and I kept enjoying them more and more. And when I got to see Jackass Forever in a theater with my friends and a full room of people just laughing their fucking butts off, and the best production value in the series, god damn, I had a great time.
Yeah. Timo, do you have any? I'm gonna limit us to one more each, perhaps.
That makes sense.
And then because I feel like the 2021 thing is gonna go for a while too.
Yeah, so I've got lots to say about those films too. But the one I want to finish us out with is we're gonna step off the positivity train and hop onto the mild bemusement boat for Death on the Nile.
Okay. Well, neither of us have seen this, so no spoilers.
No spoilers. Okay, well, it's the reason I dyed my hair. I make reviews with friend and sometimes guest Ryan. We do for our university TV station. And I decided that for once I would play Hercule Poirot. And so I talk like this. This film is, and I had my mustache back then. I dyed that too, twisted it all up, made it try to look like the detective himself, and talked about the film. And the content of the review, basically, it's like I am like happy to see a film like this be in the theater because it's a sequel, okay, but it's not really an extended universe. It's just this detective series. It's Agatha Christie. It's the best selling detective series in the history of everything. But it just doesn't feel like your like everyday blockbuster in a weird sort of way. And I'm happy to see that they're getting made because they're kind of entertaining and that people are like watching them. People like these movies. When I went and saw it, the theater was like full, and it was a fun theater experience. There's kind of memey lines in the film. You know them from the trailer.
We know them. We love them.
We know them. We love them.
We have enough champagne to fill the Nile.
Yeah, and when she said that in the theater, yeah, people were like, "Whoa!" Like giving it a little cheer.
Oh man!
But I heard
tell of people doing that.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Haha. I will choose to think.
You know
this
what?
Is funny.
Haha.
Yeah. My inner monologue just went exactly like that. It's a tape recorder. But the actual film, it's kind of pretty, but it's like really, really heavily CGI, and you can tell like they shot it in England, and it takes place in Egypt. And so I'm just kind of like, I think the characters and the cast and the acting is good enough. Except for Gal Gadot, I don't know. She does nothing for me in this movie. But
Red Notice's own.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just kind of. I'm like, I love to see it. I think the story's good. It's mystery. It's got twists and turns, and you don't know what's going on. I think the pacing's a little off, but I had fun while I was watching it, and I wasn't really expecting like a whole lot, so. I come out like totally mid, but if I could say I'm like positively mid without actually like a non-committal,
Yeah,
a
non-committal, yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at with this film.
Sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
We'll let you know when we see it because we'll see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Am I closing us off here?
Yeah. Why don't you close this off
before the big boys come in?
The big boys.
All right. I often think about the fact that I watch a lot of variety of films. I've talked about Bubble Boy, mid-2000s comedy. I've talked about a whole slew of Michael Bay movies.
Mid-2000s action movies.
Yeah.
But
I'm
noticing a trend here.
It's not in that same boat though.
Okay.
One genre that I have never really experienced just because I always saw it as sort of background noise is rom-coms. I mean, these movies are popular. They're highly regarded, but they're not highly regarded by film bros, by film fans, by
film buffs. Yeah, film buffs.
So frankly, I never really paid attention when they come out, and I've found it more and more fascinating as I've delved into film history, into multiple genres, to try things that I otherwise wouldn't. To watch films that will not only not be important in the future, but I don't find very interesting, like conceptually originally. And one of the main examples of these is when I'm in the theater and we're watching these fucking trailers that we've seen 30 fucking times and they've been going for the last 6 months, and it becomes a meme of God, I can't wait for this movie to come out, not because I can't wait for this movie to come out, because I'm just ready to stop seeing these trailers. And one of these was Marry Me, the Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson rom-com that we don't see movies like this be made, not necessarily that they're not made anymore, but they're certainly not theatrically shown anymore. This is what you see on streaming, and you never see a trailer for it, and it shows up one day, and it's like number 5 on Netflix or Hulu, and you're like, okay, I guess I'll watch it because I have nothing else to do. So I kind of made it a joke that I was excited for Marry Me. I was the one guy excited for Marry Me. And then a couple of my friends saw it and like, actually, yeah, this is pretty good. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll watch Marry Me. And I was not into it at first. I'm like, oh, God, I don't like Jennifer Lopez music very much. I think it's fine, but whatever. But then I was like, wait, hold on. Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez have really great chemistry, and this film makes a surprisingly interesting commentary about like the humanity of celebrities and like the way that we treat them and the way that their lives have been like twisted up by fame and popularity. I'm like, wait, hold on, I'm very invested in these characters, and I really want to see them get together and like have a happy ending. And by the end of the movie, I was like, yeah, I'm a Marry Me fan. And it's not a great movie. I mean, I think it's actually a surprisingly good movie, but it doesn't do anything you wouldn't expect it to do, though it hit higher bars than I expected it to, frankly.
Sure.
So I increase my enjoyment of it because it's kind of a first for me to watch a new rom-com, to watch rom-coms, period. I've watched a smattering in the past, but a movie in this style, just a sort of a meet cute, two different people, kind of, they just have a relationship and you hope it works out for them. And it does.
And doesn't it just make you feel?
And it just works. It just works. And there's a whole slew of, I believe, original songs by Jennifer Lopez in this movie, which are all good. I mean, I don't know her songography.
It's probably no Jenny from the Block.
Is that one of her songs?
No, I was lying to you for no reason.
I don't know. So you might be messing with me.
Tucker, but she's still Jenny from the Block.
I give what the fuck? I give Marry Me a hearty thumbs up, and I actually recommend that people go and see it.
You recommend a big
go see it.
And I fucking stand by it. You can quote me on it.
All right.
Okay.
I think we will, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we watched a lot of good stuff recently, but what did we watch last year? In the far off past of 2021. As I said, I've limited my list down to a top 5 that we haven't talked about for Quest and we haven't talked about in other reviews.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give mention to things that fall in between. But my in-depth thoughts are going to go to these top 5. And I'll start off with my number 5 for this and my number 11 on my actual 2021 ranking. The Last Duel from Ridley Scott. Yes, it's up there. It's up there for me. I believe this is the one that Ridley Scott said failed because millenniums were too on their phone to go see it.
Yeah, man, this is the one that he was all raged out about.
Yes, and
you know what? I'm with him. I wish this movie done better.
Yeah. We have an all-star cast here. We got Matt Damon, we got Jodie Comer, we got Ben Affleck, we got Adam Driver, we got all sorts of folks in this, and they all do very well. Aspersions aside for Ben Affleck, who got a Razzie nomination for this, even though he shouldn't have.
Based.
Tucker, put that fist down, Tucker. He should not have gotten that Razzie nomination.
He's fucking awful.
But I enjoyed his performance. I enjoyed every performance in this. I think obviously this film centers around some unpleasant subject material. It is about the rape of Jodie Comer's character by Adam Driver. And this story is sort of told 3 separate times. Once from the perspective of Matt Damon, her husband. Once from the perspective of Adam Driver, sort of Matt Damon's rival in the eyes of the king. Right. Yeah.
Yes, but also the rapist.
Yeah, but also the rapist, obviously. Yeah. And finally, from Jodie Comer's perspective, and I think
a bit of a Yojimbo situation.
A bit of a Yojimbo situation. A bit of a what's the other one? Rashomon. A bit of a Rashomon.
Oh, that's the right one. I don't think there is a Yojimbo situation. There's a bit of a Rashomon effect. I think
it is.
Right?
It is. Well, if you remember the plot of Rashomon, it is a lot like Rashomon, actually.
Oh. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, there's not a lot. I think the production design of this is fantastic. I think the final battle in this between the titular last duel between Matt Damon and Adam Driver will probably stick with me just because that is a fucking brutal fight. Yeah. Ridley Scott is not like romanticizing the medieval times at all. He shows you how awful it is to be particularly a woman in this time and just a person who is alive. We have these guys clinking around in heavy armor and like trying to roll off the ground, and they're smacking each other with swords and like jamming spears into each other's faces and stuff like that. It's brutal. But yeah, for a majority of the film, like I said, I think all the performances are fantastic. I think how it portrays its subject material is interesting and can be mirrored of how we treat similar sexual assaults and things of like falsely accused, like, oh, she's just lying or whatever to for political and economic gains or whatever. It mirrors a lot of that, which we unfortunately still have in the modern era, and I think that's intentional on Ridley Scott's part. This is also adapted from a book, and yeah, I across the board, I think this is a really, really great film. I think there should have been some other nominations thrown around, maybe to Jodie Comer, especially for her role, and nominations that weren't Razzie nominations, I might add.
Yeah, because actually, frankly, I believe that's the only time it was quote unquote recognized in the award season.
Yeah. If I may talk quickly about Ben Affleck, I think he's good because he's sort of like this petulant rich guy, and I think the way that he performs in this film really captures that. He's all blonded out and he's got a bleach blonde goatee and stuff like that. But Tucker, it's not on your list, so you can't talk about it.
That's true.
At all.
It's not on my list.
Yeah. But who would like to go next? I'll throw it to either one of you.
I'll go next if you'll permit it, Tucker.
I'll permit it.
Okay, thank you.
Only Tucker.
My
I don't matter.
But you better not do it next time.
Oh, okay.
Or you'll be sorry.
I will. I'm sure of that. Well, my best films of 2021 are in no particular order except for the top one, and the top one I will reveal later. Okay, I gotta hold our audience in suspense. Okay. But one of the films that I saw last year that I really liked was Spencer. That I don't think we're gonna get much more of a chance to talk about because it has kind of petered out in the awards circuit. Didn't really get any Oscar nominations, did it?
It did.
A couple.
Kristen Stewart.
Ah, yes. That one is right, and hopefully she wins that. I'm rooting for her. But I really like this film. I had a really great theater experience when I went and saw it, so I'm a little bit biased as a result of that.
Explain.
Meaning, yes, that I went to I was like hanging out with some dude bros, and we were chilling, and we're like, okay, let's go.
The dude bros going to see a feminist art house movie.
we were like, let's go see the Lady Di movie. Let's go see our queen, our Princess Diana in this movie. And so
that's what dudes do nowadays. I don't know if any women in the audience know that, but that's
what America. This is how dudes are.
That's what dudes do nowadays. Yeah.
And so me and my dudes go to like this gigantic multiplex on the outskirts of town. And we are the only ones in the theater, in the entire like big giant theater. And it's like a late night showing. It's, we would expect it, but we had a great time. We were just, imagine you're sitting in your living room watching a movie, except your TV and sound system are that of a theater's. That is what it was like. So we were just, I have something funny I want to say about this movie. Oh, I will just say it. And then people will either laugh or, say something else or just nothing, and we'll just keep watching. And surprisingly, we paid pretty good attention to the film. And I found it like a super, super compelling. I was so wrapped, just like, pulled in by the story of Princess Diana. And I think Kristen Stewart absolutely should win Best Performance as a result. I think she embodies the characters super well.
Well, yes, Timo, and I have a question for you two fellas. Now this film also made my list, so should we? And Tucker, did it make your list? Your top 5? Should we just all talk about Spencer right now?
Do it. Go for it.
Spencer's my number 1 film of 2021. I think this film is.
It's your number 1, or is it your actual number 1?
It's my actual number 1. It's my actual number 1. I think this film is genuinely perfect in every sense, in every filmic element of it. Kristen Stewart, like you said, is absolutely fantastic. She has all of these complex emotions, and she conveys them perfectly in one-on-one scenes, whether that's with Prince Charles. Is he the guy?
One of them royals.
One of them royals. In the billiard scene, in the billiard hall scene, that is, that's a fantastic scene in itself. She's also great on her own. Like I think it's an unrecognized thing, kind of, when actors can be fantastic, and she's alone for a lot of this film. She's out by herself in like the meadows and the pastures, and like going to her old, or is it her family's old manor, I believe, is where she goes to.
Used to live.
Yeah, that's where she used to live. Those scenes are fantastic when they sort of mix reality and dreams and stuff like that. The whole film does feel dreamlike. It's fantastically filmed by I don't know who the cinematographer is. I'll pull up the cast here a second, or the casting crew, as Tucker gives his thoughts a second.
Yeah, I mean, I'm I'm basically in the same boat. I think this film is very impressive because it melds a tone so well in terms of if you are creating an aesthetic that every element is flowing towards, that's what really blows me away. And that's why I love like Wes Anderson. That's why I loved Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And this movie has a sort of just silky quality to it from the score and the color palette and the set design combined with the cinematography and the way that Kristen Stewart sort of just disappears into her role and the place that she's in. It's a very unique film, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, it's certainly top of the year.
Claire Mathan, whoever is the cinematographer for this film, fantastic. It has this sort of hazy, dreamlike thing to it that it really adds to the whole aesthetic of the film. There are just like a number of fantastic scenes in this. I think the pearl necklace scene at dinner is one of them.
Crazy town, that scene.
Yeah. The scene where Diana goes to get her sons. I forget what their names are. Andrew and the other one.
Yeah, they're
William.
Yeah,
William and Andrew.
Man. It's the one who
she goes to get them from the hunting trip. The ending scene when they're driving away is like this moment of pristine elation after the mounting tension and dread that is built through the rest of the film. It is.
I just paused because the reason I related Spencer to Portrait is the same cinematographer.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't even know that, but she's got a fucking style and it's great. It's probably one of my favorite cinematographic styles.
Yeah. And I think this film is critical of the royals as it should be. They seem to all be terrible people.
Royals.
Yeah, it really shows how really shows how Diana was being like mentally tortured and physically tortured in some respects, since those things sort of tie together, as this film shows, by not only the paparazzi and her celebrity becoming part of the royal family, but also the royal family themselves and just like
doing
the
crazy shit.
The stifling nature of their traditions and the standards that she is meant to live up to, and all these things. Where she was just sort of I guess she was also quite wealthy because she came from that manor or whatever that was near the royals' manor. But I will say, Princess Diana seemed to be a better person than most of the royals by a wide margin. Go see Spencer if you haven't. It is streaming on Hulu right now. Kristen Stewart absolutely deserved that Oscar nomination, and she deserves the win because she is by and far the best performance in that category, and I would say best performance of the year.
Yep, hands down. I will agree with you there, Tanner.
Yeah. But yes, Tucker.
Oh, it's my turn. Turn. Lord. But you know what this means? That okay. So how are we gonna figure this out? Because Spencer was my number 2, so that already cuts down. But I'm gonna go for my number 5.
Okay,
because that makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be Parallel Mothers, a film that we got to see at our local indie film cinema on campus, Lay Epic Mary Rietman Ross Theater. And it was my first Pedro Almodovar film, and I found his style to be absolutely enrapturing. It tells a story of a woman who has a pregnancy and her child dies, and she becomes entwined with this younger woman who had a baby at the exact same time as her. They were like fucking roomies in the baby hospital,
maternity ward.
Yeah,
roomies in the baby hospital.
Yeah, but it becomes sort of this dark mystery of her hiding the truth of a situation from this other woman, and the like pounding score and editing that's chopping back and forth between time periods is really quite striking, and it also has this great focus of like red in the color palette, and it's very visually interesting. I found the characters and the situation that they're put into, like this drip of dread that just kept me engaged throughout the entire thing. And when it finishes off and like the film just the film sort of peters out, which is intentional, but a little bit of a knock against it. And then the credits go and it's got this amazing theme song playing. I'm like, all right, that was a fucking experience, and I loved it.
Yeah. Another Best Actress nominee in there, Penelope Cruz, would not be at all disappointed if she gets it. I mean, I'll be a little bit disappointed because I think Kristen Stewart very much deserves it, but
not at all, but only partly.
Yeah, but partly. But I also think Penelope Cruz probably has the least likely shot at getting that award this year. But yeah, she's fantastic. What Tucker? Do you have the cast pulled up there? Who plays her co-star?
Her co-star is Milena Smith, who
Yes,
plays Anna.
yeah, Melina Smith. She's also genuinely fantastic. Yeah. Everyone's great in this. Almodovar has fantastic direction. The score is another great element of it. And there's some great and deep themes into it that I was challenging myself to figure out as I was walking out those cinema doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I suppose it's back around to me then, correct?
Yep,
I think so.
Okay, all right. My number 4 on this list, and if I can just pull it up here, my number 10 on my overall list, my actual list, is James Wan's *Malignant*.
Oh, baby.
Crack the top 10. This is a very, very fun watch. It came out in September, one of the HBO Max same day ones. We watched it on HBO Max. We got some boyos over to watch *Malignant*, and God damn if it wasn't a fun time, because James Wan really just goes all out into the wackiness of this. He replicates the giallo, I believe that's how it's pronounced. This sort of 1960s to 1980s sort of Italian horror feel and mood to it. You have the great Annabelle Wallis in this film, who portrays this woman whose boyfriend is murdered by a mysterious being, and then it's sort of a mystery film following this mysterious being becoming a serial killer, and she has dreams of this mysterious being who we become to know as the classic character, everyone's favorite character of the year, Gabriel. Gabriel
Represent.
Gabriel is going around the city of Seattle. I think this is where it's set, murdering people, and Annabelle Wallis's character Madison is having visions of these murders and dreams of these murders. And those scenes where like it transitions into a dream are fantastic because
watch this movie again.
Yeah, I know, it's great. It's her like bedroom or whatever, but it like dissolves into slowly, like a wipe dissolve into the room where the murder is going to take place at. Genuinely fantastic. It's been long enough where I don't feel bad about spoiling this film, but if you do care to see it, go watch now. And because I'm gonna spoil it. Timo, do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
He's not gonna fucking watch this. Timo doesn't watch horror movies, little man.
No, I don't watch horror movies.
The thing about this is though, it's not that scary, but Madison and Gabriel are one in the same. Madison is Gabriel and Gabriel is Madison. Gabriel is a tumor, a twin that is growing on the back of Madison's head, and eventually at certain points in her day-to-day life takes control of her brain, and she turns around and backwards walks. And
her arms like snap backwards and and then Gabriel takes over.
Yes.
Fucking her hair parts and his face moves out. It's fucking crazy.
It is absolutely nuts. The action scene with Gabriel in the police station after Madison has been apprehended is one of the best action sequences
because Gabriel is also
last year.
obscenely strong and just like climbs walls like it's nothing and chucks desks like it's nothing. It's fucking crazy.
It is insane. James Wan nails the aesthetic and the mood of this film to a T, and he creates a genuinely fun and like dark and gothic and campy horror masterpiece. I didn't think, I far be it from me, I'm like, oh, everything horror like comedy nowadays has to be like self-referential. We have to do Cabin in the Woods and stuff like that. But no, James Wan said, hold my beer. I'm going to make a genuinely
scary.
Well, not scary. I don't think this movie's really scary, but endearing and like self-serious yet campy horror film. And he did it, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, this is my number 3. So we're knocking mine off one by one.
Tucker, do you have anything to say about *Malignant*?
We're running long, so I agree with you.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry.
All right. Well,
Timo.
My next one, I think I'm going to talk about choice between 2 for this one. I think it's going to go to The Green Knight. I saw The Green Knight very late, a lot later than everyone else did. But man, I enjoyed it. I had a great time in that movie. Just was absorbed into the world and to everything that I was being shown. just the set design and the aesthetics of the film just swept me away. I was like, man, it's it's fairly expressionist, and I think that that artistic, go in that direction is really sweet. And some of the jokes like the cum belt and that kind of it kind of is like crude humor in the film even. Um, I really liked it. I thought it was a great time, and so it's up there on my list. And I
Yeah.
was really looking forward to it when it was going to come out like 2 years ago, and then it never did because of the stupid virus, man. And now I finally got to see it, so I'm happy about that.
The Green Knight also on my list. Number 2 on my list for this. Number 7 overall.
Oh, really?
For
I honestly didn't know you liked it that much.
Yeah, I think this film is genuinely fantastic in its world building. Dev Patel is great as Gaiwan.
Very true.
Alicia Vikander pulling double duty as the lady and as sort of Gaiwan's back home his love interest. Essel, Joel Edgerton as the Lord. I think there's a lot of there's great characterization in this. I think that one of the final scenes of Gaiwan sort of like future projecting his entire life
Yeah.
at the like
Awesome.
if he decides to walk away from the Green Knight and not sacrifice his life is fantastic, and it is genuinely one of the best scenes of the year as he comes to understand like I could survive in the moment, but my life will sort of fade into patheticness and obscurity and defeat, or I can take control of my life now and live up to the promise that I made. And I think that's the sort of character arc that he's going going on through the entire film. And like Timo said, it looks great. There's the thing with the giants is like some of the most awe-inspiring imagery I've seen in a
Yeah,
movie
it's just
last year
badass.
for sure. And we are going long, so yeah, I Green Knight what did I say? Number 2 on my top 5 for this episode.
Yeah, you're getting these all mashed up in the fucking blender.
Sorry.
Oh man.
I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows
This is a
where
fucking shit
anything
show.
goes?
Yeah.
That's why it goes
Not
nowhere,
terrible.
according to me.
Tucker.
Tucker, that's me.
Tucker.
Tucker's going to talk about another movie we saw at the Mary Ross Theater, which was 9 Days, directed by Edson Oda. This is a movie about what happens after. No, sorry, not what happens after you die, but before you're born. No, wait, no shit. Wait, what fuck was it?
It's both.
Yeah, it's sort of
reincarnation.
It's a reincarnation thing about the world between worlds, where this sort of mildly bureaucratic system picks and chooses moments from your life to recreate. And it's this really strange film that takes place in a location unlike any other and has a vibe unlike any other, and like it creates a reality that you have no idea what's going to happen going in, and it just keeps subverting what the meaning of this place is, what the role of the people you're following are. Of course, you've got Winston Duke, Zazie Beetz, and Benedict Wong, so how the fuck are you going to go wrong with names like those? But they're playing roles unlike anything you've seen them before, and I think they all do a fantastic job. And just I can't state enough how unique this film is. I mean, conceptually and like thematically about what love means and what life means and what living life to the fullest means. This film is fucking awesome, and I'll watch it again someday.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It was very, very good. I do have a question logistically here. Tucker, how many do you have left? Tucker.
One.
One? Timo?
I have my final one, yeah, but I can add more as needed.
Perfect.
Well, I also have one more.
Okay,
I'm on my last one here as well.
Final round.
I'll
then.
go. I will end off on my number 3 on this list.
Okay, yes. Well, remind us what your number 1 was, just so that the audience can keep it straight.
I'll run down my top 5 here.
All right.
My 5, The Last Duel. 4, Malignant. 3, which I'll get to in a second, Mass. Number 2, The Green Knight, and number 1, Spencer. So Mass. We also watched this at the Mary Ross Theater here on campus. Shout out to them.
Shout out.
Mass is great and is a lot different from every other movie I have on this list and every other movie that came out this year, I would say.
Okay.
Because
why is that?
It's very grounded. It is a cast of 4 main characters, essentially. Reed Birney, Ann Dowd, Jason Isaacs, and Martha Plimpton. And I believe it's Ann Dowd and Reed Birney play the parents of a school shooter. And Jason Isaacs and Martha Plimpton play the parents of one of the victims of the school shooter, and it is years after the fact, and they've decided to sit down together and have a conversation about what went down all those years ago in that high school. And it is it's nearly 2 hours long, and I think the conversation itself is in this one room in a very, like, I guess you could call it like a liminal space, even though that word is sort of thrown around a lot. It's like those. I don't know how often you guys went to church or what kind of church you went to, but like it's one of those like bland backroom places in a church.
Yeah, like a meeting room.
Frankly, in any building that has extra rooms that you're not using, that they're usually stored like chairs in, that's where they are.
It's just folding chairs and like those flimsy wooden tables or whatever, and they're having this deep, introspective, like you can tell that, at the beginning they want to be charitable to one another, and they don't want to get too deep into their true feelings, but those true feelings come out, and the core conversation of this film goes on for probably 80 minutes in its entirety. This film is basically one long conversation, bookended by the people showing up and the people leaving. And throughout those 80 minutes, it just takes you, and it does not let you go. Because more information about this school shooting is slowly fed to the audience and
divulged.
Divulged to the audience, and from all four of the parents at the room, and facts about the children, and the case at hand, and like background information of what happened after the school shooting, what the parents of the shooter had to deal with, and it gets into and what the parents of the victims had to deal with, and like court cases and stuff like that. And it gets into things about parenting and who should be held accountable in cases like this. It is very topical because these things are very common especially in America, unfortunately. And I found it super fascinating, very well acted. I think some of these people got some like Screen Actors, or not even Screen Actors Guild, got some recognition in some award shows, but not nearly enough. It's not a super flashy film, but I think it's a very human film and a very grounded film, and something that I'd recommend if you can handle this sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it's also one of my favorite movies of the year. It didn't make my list, but another movie that there are a few things like it. Like this movie didn't, believe it or not, didn't do well at the box office, and frankly, it did surprisingly better than I expected to. Critically, because it does have a few nominations across the award spectrum, but it was not promoted properly, because I do think that this sort of emotionally impactful, grounded film about a very real problem should be discussed more and should be watched more. And I like films that do something different with space and character and conversation, and the fact that this film is one long conversation, and there's no editing to hide breaks in it. There's no editing to hide awkwardness. That really makes it a lot more realistic. Like, you're sitting in the room with them and you're like, man, I'm dreading the moment they bring this up, but also I'm kind of interested to see when they bring this up and how they react, and how this spins off into them telling personal stories about their children and what they lost, how they've dealt with the pain and the grief. It's really fantastic.
But yeah, that is my last one to discuss. Timo,
good. Finally, we're done.
You're on to your final one here. Your best film of the year.
My ranked number one best film of the year. I'm gonna
your only ranked movie.
My only one, the only one that gets a number, is gonna have to go to Titane, because man, that movie fucked me up in a great way. That movie was just fucking awesome. But oh my god, yeah. That movie does what it made me feel and act in ways that movies really rarely ever do. And I thought that the whole thing was super, super well made, super well acted, just like so visceral, and so as soon as I got into it, it took me a bit. I was like, and then I was like, oh wait, that's awesome. And then I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's see crazy stuff. And guess what? Crazy stuff happens in that movie. So I enjoyed it a ton, and I just think that the impact it left on me is the reason that it goes at that top spot. I just haven't felt a film like that since, and rarely do, So very, very good in my book.
in keeping my thoughts brief, I also think Titane is fantastic, and the Academy are whiny little babies for not putting it in
They don't know what's good for
best
them.
foreign best international feature. That's the category.
And also Julia Ducournau for direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which she got at the DGAs. She's one of
the fact that this movie won the Palme d'Or last year,
has no showing in the Oscars whatsoever.
Yeah. Whiny little babies.
Come on.
Get over it. It has a little gore. Maybe it has a car baby, you know.
That baby.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. I did hope that at one point they say it's a Cadillac, but when the baby was born, I really hope that, but it's not the right tone. But look it out and like go with like bated breath, be like, oh, it's a Cadillac. I really wanted that, but it never.
I don't get the joke.
So they say like it's a boy or it's a girl sometimes.
Yeah.
But because it's a car baby, they're like,
yeah, okay.
Tucker, what's your
peak humor coming from me, man.
Now here's the problem. I'm a fucking degen moron.
You're a little weenie. Just pick one.
No, that's not my problem.
Okay.
Is not that I don't have a movie to talk about, but is that the one that I had at my number one, I've moved it down, so it wouldn't be my number one anymore. Which was Luca, but I'm not gonna fucking talk about Luca. Because I love that movie. I think it's one of Pixar's best. I love its aesthetic. I love the world. I think is one of the personally that would be my animated feature of the year.
Sure.
But instead, I'm going to talk about the movie that sits at the number one slot on my 2021 movies ranked. But does it deserve to be there? Absolutely not.
Oh, I know what this is.
Trash.
What are you
The Protégé?
Oh, the Protégé this fucking movie
is a nondescript, poorly budgeted, just entirely forgettable action film that has absolutely no reason to be remembered.
Right?
No, that's nobody.
Oh,
that's nobody.
Yeah, okay.
This one is Tucker. List out the cast of this for a second.
This is a film about Maggie Q playing the titular protege under the direction of her, whatever the word for
her mentor,
sure, of Samuel L. Jackson, fighting off against Michael Keaton. And you know what? Frankly, that's about it. This movie has nothing going for it. It's entirely unmemorable. The action sequences are totally fine. The story is really bad, actually. It's so nondescript and uninteresting.
But Tucker, why is it your number one?
Why is The Protégé my number one movie of 2021, except for it shouldn't be because this movie sucks fucking dick? I'm asking
myself that very question right now.
Yeah. This is where my interest in sort of hyping up movies for myself started. I remember seeing this is one of those movies that showed a trailer an obscene amount of times for a very long time in the theaters. And I remember seeing it trailer. I'm like, wow, this looks fucking stupid. Like, who's gonna care? And then I'm like, there's a subsect of films that don't do well at the box office, that have big name stars that are going to be entirely forgotten by time, that I think it'd be really interesting to pay attention to, because they're a big part of the film industry, but no one really cares. So I sort of hyped myself up. I'm like, I am the one guy who is excited for The Protégé. I am The Protégé's biggest fan.
Mm-hmm. And then you probably are, if we're honest.
And frankly, I probably am, which is kind of nice. It's kind of comforting to have that in my back pocket.
Sure, I guess.
I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Have that tumor weighing down on your brain.
But yeah, we eventually got to see The Protégé. We didn't see it on like opening night, which that's one of my deepest regrets.
Failure.
I'm a fake fan. Yeah, I know. And it's a bad movie. Like, it's not interesting, but it's probably one of the movies I have the most personal connection to in my life. Because I was able to hype myself up for it so much. So I'm never going to forget it. And I'm going to make sure that other people don't forget it, because I'll just say like, hey, remember The Protégé? No. Well, I saw it in theaters and hyped myself up for it. That's going to be the story about it. But so it's got a permanent slot at number one on my 2021 ranks, even though it's like a 2.5 movie, probably a 2-star movie out of 5. It's not a good movie.
No.
But it's the fucking best movie last year. I can tell you that.
Well, we did. We've shared our top films of 2021. Incomplete, I might add. I still have a few blind spots before the Oscars roll around. But as it stands,
we'll get to them.
What I will do is, for those cool of us to have a full list on letterboxd.com, I'll drop those lists in the description of this video, so you can see all 119 films that
he's
watched
gonna
in
flex
2021.
now. You
And
saw
whatever,
100
like,
and
like Tucker saw like 6, 7. How many did you see, Tucker? 6, 7?
6, 7 movies? No, yeah. I saw 93
There you
features
go.
released in
you
2021.
saw
Yeah,
119, Tanner? I think I saw somewhere around that many. I feel like I always don't watch that many films.
No, Timo, you
compared to
probably saw
guys.
that many movies total.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just the list of the best ones of the year.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see,
Yeah, and
there
then
you go. That's the difference.
Well,
Okay.
it's the best to worst.
Yeah. And Timo has to ration those out over the course of a year, and he'll talk about those in the next episode of Backlot Banter. We'll see you next month for that. I don't know what we'll have cool, great, fantastic, or maybe terrible, shitty, awful movies to talk about. Either way, we're gonna have fun. Hope to see you there. We'll see you next time. God, I wish I could send Tucker to a gulag when he doesn't want to watch a movie with me.
This will happen, Tanner. This will happen.